The Alibi Man Chapter 3. A pair of deputies in a white and green Palm Beach County cruiser rode through the gates behind Landry. I had ridden back to the farm to eliminate the complication of a horse at a crime scene, but I hadn't had time to shower or change clothes. Even if I had time, I wouldn't have gone to the trouble. I wanted to show James Landry I didn't care what he thought of me. I wasn't interested in impressing him, or maybe I wanted to impress him with my indifference. I stood beside my car with my arms crossed over my chest, one leg cocked to the side, the portrait of pissy impatience. Landry got out of his car and came toward me but didn't look at me. He surveyed his surroundings through a pair of black wraparounds. He had a profile that belonged on the face of a Roman coin. The sleeves of his shirt were neatly rolled halfway up his forearms, but he had yet to jerk his tie loose at his throat. The day was young. So, as he finally drew breath to speak, I said, "Follow me," got in my car, and drove past him out the gate, leaving him standing there on the drive. A short gallop on a fast horse. The location of my gruesome discovery was more difficult to find by car. It was easier to lead the way than try to give directions to a man who wouldn't listen anyway. The road bent around, came to a TI, took a left and another left, passing a driveway with a busted out motorcycle, turned into a mailbox holder. The bricks from the last hurricane 3 months past was still piled high along the road, waiting for a truck to come haul it away. Dust billowed up behind my car, even as I stopped the vehicle and got out. Landry got out of the county sedan. He had pulled for the day, swatting at the dust in his face. He still refused to look at me. "Why didn't you stay with the body?" he snapped. "You are a cop. You know better." "Oh, screw you, Landry," I shot back. "I'm a private citizen. I didn't even have to call you." "Then why did you?" "There's your victim, Ace," I said, pointing across the canal or pot of. "Go knock yourself out." He looked across the brackish water to the branch the human limb had snagged on. The flies raised up like a handkerchief in a breeze as the snowy erect poked its long beak at the hand. "Fucking nature," Landry muttered. He picked up a stone and flung it at the bird. The egret squawked in outrage and walked away on yellow stilt legs. "Detective Landry," one of the deputies called. The two of them stood at the hood of the cruiser, waiting. "You want us to call CSI?" "No," he barked. He walked away 50 yards down the bank, where a culvert allowed a narrow land bridge to connect one side of the canal to the other. I shouldn't have, but I followed him. He pretended to ignore me. The hand belonged to a woman. Up close through the veil of flies, I could see the manicure on the broken nail of the pinky finger. Deep red polish. A night on the town had ended very badly. Blonde hair floated on the surface of the water. There was more of her down there. Landry looked up and down the bank, scanning the ground for shoe prints or tire tracks or any sign of how the body had come to be in this place. I did the same. "There!" I pointed to a partial print pressed into the soft dirt, just at the very edge of the bank, maybe 10 feet away from the victim. Landry squatted down, scowled at it, then called to the deputies. "Bring me some markers." "You're welcome," I said. Finally he looked at me. For the first time I noticed that his face was drawn, as if he hadn't slept well. The set of his mouth was sour. "Is there a reason for you to be here?" "It's a free country," I said. "More or less. I don't want you here." "It's my Vic." "You're not on the job," he said. "We quit that too, remember?" His words hit me like a fist to the sternum. I actually took a step back at the verbal blow, not able to prevent myself from gasping. "You are such an asshole," I snapped back, more upset than I wanted to show, more upset than I wanted to be. Why should I want to be hooked up with you? You don't get your way, and the first thing you do is fight dirty. You really know how to handle yourself, Sell yourself, Landry. I can't believe women are beating down your door, you fucking prick. My eyes were burning, anger trembling through me like the vibrations of a plucked wire. I turned to go back to the body, thinking that the woman below the surface of the filthy water had undoubtedly been put there by some man she shouldn't have trusted, as if there were any kind. The arm seemed to wave at me in acknowledgement, and I thought I was hallucinating. Then it waved again violently, and I knew instantly what was happening. Before I could react, there was a terrific splashing and thrashing, and water came up to me in a sheet. Landry shouted behind me, Jesus Christ! One of the deputies called, Gator! Landry hit me in the back and shoved me to the side. As I tumbled onto my hands and knees, a gun went off above me, the report like the crack of a whip in my ears. I scrambled away from the bank and tried to regain my feet, the worn soles of my riding boots slipping out from under me on the damp grass. Landry emptied his Glock 9mm into the churning water. One of the deputies ran along the bank on the other side, shouldering a shotgun, shouting, I got him! I got him! The blast was nearly deafening. Son of a bitch, Landry shouted. As I watched, the perpetrator floated to the surface on his back, a bloody rag gaping hole torn in his pale yellow belly. An alligator about 5 feet long, with part of a human torso still caught between its jaws. Shit, Landry said. There goes my scene. He swore and stomped around, looking for something to hit or kick. I went to the edge of the bank and looked down. Alligators are known for rolling with their prey in the water, disorienting the thrashing victim, drowning them even as the gator bit through tissue and bone, rupturing veins and arteries. This one had jerked his intended free meal of the branches she had become entangled with. The gator may have been stashed the body there himself earlier. Another common practice stuffing the victim away for later, letting the body begin to decompose while wedged under a tree trunk. Nature is cruel, almost as cruel as human beings. I stared down into the muddy water, looking for the rest of the body to surface. When it did, I went numb from head to toe. I mouthed the words, oh my God, but I don't think I said them out loud. I felt like I was floating out of my body. I sank back down to my knees, and my hands covered my mouth to stifle a sound to keep from vomiting. I didn't know which. The pale blue face that stared back at me should have been beautiful full lips, high cheekbones. She should have had translucent blue eyes, the color of a Siberian winter sky. But the small fish and other creatures that lived in the canal had begun to feed on them. More of Mother Nature's handiwork, a death mask from a horror movie. Over the years that I had been a street cop and a narcotics detective, I had seen many bodies. I had looked down into the lifeless faces of countless corpses. I had learned not to think of them as people. The essence of the person was gone. What remained was evidence of a crime, something to be processed and cataloged. I couldn't do that as I stared at this face. I couldn't detach, couldn't shut down my mind as it flashed images of her alive. I could hear her voice, insolent, dismissive, rushing. I could see her walk across the stable yard, lithe, lazy, elegant like a cheetah. Her name was Irina Markova. I had worked side by side with her for more than a year. Elena, Elena, Elena. It registered somewhere in the back of my mind that someone was trying to speak to me, but it sounded as if the voice was coming from very far away. A firm hand rested on my shoulder. Elena, are you all right? Landry. No, I said, moving away from his touch. I fought to stand and prayed not to fall as I walked away, but my legs gave out within a few steps and I went down on my hands and knees. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and yet my stomach heaved and I vomited and choked. Panic gripped me by the throat. as much from my fear of my own emotions as from what I had seen or from fear of expiring my own vomit and dying. I wanted to run away from my feelings. I wanted to bolt and run, just as Ollie had bolted and run away with me earlier, bringing me to this terrible place. Elena. Lancy's voice was in my ear. His arm came around my shoulders, offering strength and security. I didn't want those things from him. I didn't want anything from him. I didn't want him seeing me this way, weak, vulnerable, out of control. We had been lovers off and on for the last year. He had decided he wanted more. I had decided I wanted nothing. Less than 10 hours previous, I had pushed him away with both hands, too strong to need him, or so I claimed. I didn't feel very strong now. Hey, take it easy, he said quietly. Just try to breathe slowly. I pushed at him, wiggled away from him, got to my feet again. I tried to say something, I don't know what. The sounds coming from me weren't words. I put my hands over my face, trying to hold myself together. It's Irina, I said, fighting to regulate my breathing. Irina. Irina from Sean's? Yes. Oh, Jesus, he murmured. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, I whispered. Please, Elena, you should sit down. He told one of the deputies to call in a crime scene unit and usher me not to my car, but to his. I sat down sideways in the passenger seat, bent over my knees, my hands trailing my head. You want something to drink? Yeah, vodka rocks with a twist. I have water. He handed me a bottle. I rinsed my mouth out. Do you have a cigarette? I asked, not because I was a smoker per se, but because I had been, and like a lot of cops I knew, Landry included, had never entirely abandoned the bad habit. Look in the glove compartment. It gave my trembling hands something to do, my mind something small to focus on. It forced me to breathe slowly or choke. When was the last time you saw her? I took a deep pull on the smoke and exhaled, as if I was blowing out candles on a birthday cake, forcing every last bit of air from my lungs. Saturday, late afternoon, she was anxious to go. I offered to feed the horses and take care of night check. I liked myself. Irina had an active social life, where it took place and with whom I didn't know. But I had often seen her leave her apartment above the stables dressed for trouble. Where was she going? I don't know. Where might she go? I didn't have the strength to shrug. Maybe players on Calipite. Maybe clubbing, Calumet Street. Did you know her friends? No. I imagine they were mostly other groomers like other Russians. Boyfriend? If she had one, she didn't bring him to the farm. She kept her business to herself. That was one thing I'd always liked about her. Irina didn't burden those around her with raunchy details of her sex life, or who she had seen, or who she had done. Has her mood been any different lately? I tried a weak laugh. No, she's been churlish and arrogant like always. Not sought at the qualities in a groom, but I had never really minded her moods. God knew I made her look like an angel. She had opinions and wasn't shy about voicing them. I respected that. And she was damn good at her job, even if she did sometimes act like she was in forced labor in a Siberian gulag. Do you want me to take you home? Landry asked. No, I'm staying. Elena, I'm staying. I put out the cigarette on the running board of the car and dropped the butt into the ashtray. I figured he would try to stop me, but he stepped back as I got out of the car. Do you know anything about her family? No. I doubt Sean does either. It would never occur to him to ask. She wasn't a member of the tax-paying club? I gave him a look. Undocumented aliens made up a large part of the workforce in the South Florida horse business. They migrated to Wellington every winter, just like the owners and trainers of the 5 or 6,000 horses brought here to compete in some of the biggest, richest equivalent events in the world. From January to April, the town's population tripled with everything from billionaires to barely getting bys. The main showgrounds, Palm Beach Polo and Esquin Club, is a multinational melting pot. Nigerians work security, Haitians empty the trash cans, Mexicans and Guatemalans milk the stalls. Once a year, the ends would make a sweep through the showgrounds, scattering illegal aliens like rats being run out of a tenement. You know, I'm going to call this in and people are going to come out here, Lancy said. By people, he meant detectives from the sheriff's office, not my biggest fan club, despite the fact that I had been one of them. I almost also got one of them killed in a drug raid 3 years prior. A bad decision against orders, of course. A couple of twitchy meth dealers, a recipe for disaster. I had not escaped unscathed physically or mentally, and I hadn't died either. And there were cops who would never forgive me for that. I found the body, I said, like it or not. Not, I thought. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to know the person who had become a corpse ravaged by an alligator. But somehow, this trouble had managed to find me, and there wasn't anything I can do about it. Life's a bitch, and then you die. Some sooner than others. Like, comment, and subscribe on this video.